Hey, the Dolphins dismantled the Jets 30-0 for the season sweep over New York. So we got a lot to talk about. We'll break it all down. And Raheem Mostert, how about a record breaking? But first, I got to invite you to subscribe to the channel because the 10th win of the season means the Dolphins are 10-4 for the first time since 2000. The fun is just getting started. It'll be a blast down the stretch, and we've got a video for you every single day, so don't miss a thing. Subscribe to the channel, and let's get it going on. Dolphins Today. About as dominating of a victory as you will find in the National Football League. Welcome in. I am your host, Jake Riepma. And when your team knocks off a divisional opponent, even if they are the lowly Jets, 30-0, it feels good. It's a victory Monday. We still will break it all down, but really just a clean game and a dominating game. I keep using that term dominating, and it's the best way to describe the defensive effort, especially all throughout Sunday's game, all four quarters. I mean, this was honestly about as relaxed as you can feel watching a team dominate. A great bounce-back win. We all know what happened on Monday Night Football. It was a short week, and the Dolphins did a tremendous job of turning the page and really taking out their frustrations from that loss to the Titans on the Jets. And now we buckle up and dial it in for the final 3 weeks of the regular season. But you see the stats right on the screen there. Tua with a big day. He was clean. He did not turn the ball over, the one touchdown. You know Mostert is a magnet to the end zone. He had the 2 rushing touchdowns. And no Tyreek Hill. Obviously, that's a huge story, and he could not give it a go with the ankle injury. And Jaylen Waddle stepped up big time in his absence, and we will talk all about that. But first, I got to give a lot of credit to the defense, because when you look at the way this game played out, the defense set the tone from the very beginning. They forced turnovers. They put pressure on first Zach Wilson, then, of course, Trevor Siemian. And just about at every single level, you could point to players making plays on the defensive line, of course, in the middle, and obviously in the secondary as well, forcing the 4 turnovers, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. One of them, like I said, set the tone when Bradley Chubb forced the fumble on Zach Wilson. Zach Sealer recovered it, and the Dolphins had the football on the 1-yard line, obviously going to score, and the route was on. But take a look at the bottom part there. 6 sacks, 14 QB hits. I don't know about you. Any quarterback that's getting hit 14 times, that's a miserable Sunday afternoon. Just the 80 pass yards, 23 rush yards. Again, we talk about the video game numbers on the offensive side. This was a dominating video game number statistical performance by the defense. And I think every player of Vic Fangio's defense deserves a lot of credit. But it started with Bradley Chubb. And I'll tell you what, if you follow the channel, you know I was really critical on Bradley Chubb after that Monday night performance against the Titans. And I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but if you didn't see it, he had a costly 15-yard penalty that led to a Titans touchdown. Now here we go. Like I said, they flip the page and focus all of their energy and effort on the Jets. And Bradley Chubb played his best game in a Miami Dolphins uniform. Look at the numbers. 7 tackles, 3 sacks, which ties a career high, and the 2 forced fumbles. So not only was he getting to the quarterback, but he was wreaking havoc as he got to the quarterback and even recovered one of the fumbles himself. But that is a statement game from Bradley Chubb, bouncing back after a poor performance one week and quickly turning the page, showing some mental resiliency to be able to come back and perform at such a high level, and really gets my defensive game ball and helps me feel really, really confident about this defense, because when you've got the pressure off the edges, you've got solid play in the middle, and you've got this Dolphins secondary led by Jalen Ramsey, you feel pretty good about all 3 levels. But I feel good, and maybe you're on the other side of the coin. You think, hey, relax, Riepma, it's just the Jets. Let me know in the comments, what is your confidence level in this Dolphins defense? Scale it for me, 1 through 10. Now, feels great. It really does. A victory Monday. You dominated a divisional opponent, but like I said, Riepma, pump the brakes a little bit. We are going to find out what this defense is made of in the final 3 weeks of the season, and really the whole team, because what has the narrative been around this Miami Dolphins team all season long? You can't beat the good teams. Well, we'll find out if the Dolphins can change that narrative because look at that remaining schedule. Now, 2 of the 3 at home, so that's obviously a plus, but the Dallas Cowboys, and also an angry Dallas Cowboys team coming off a really blowout loss on the road to the Buffalo Bills. We saw what Baltimore did on Sunday Night Football, dismantling that Jacksonville squad that is starting to kind of fade down the stretch. But Baltimore, hey, they're in first place in the AFC for a lot of reasons. Lamar Jackson has been awesome this season, making quite the case for the NFL MVP as well. And then we get a rematch after the Dolphins in Buffalo really got it handed to them. And I know that seems like light years ago, but the point being, down the stretch, we find out what this Miami Dolphins defense is made of. We find out what this Dolphins team is made of, and I hope you'll join me for the ride. So, coming up, we've got a few more overreactions to get to because there's a lot in this game. But first, I want to give a huge shout-out to today's presenting sponsor, making today's show possible. That is Factor, America's #1 meal delivery service. And I'm telling you what, folks, it's the holiday season, so you know what that means. We're busy. It's a bustling time, so you're probably looking for nutritious, flavorful meals to help fuel you on jam-packed days. And I'm not just talking dinner. We're talking breakfast, lunch, dinner, smoothies, juices, you name it. Chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. So most importantly, you'll save some time and you'll stay on track with your healthy lifestyle, all while tackling those holiday to-dos. So we've got enough on our holiday to-do list, so here are some things you can cross off. Meal prepping, grocery shopping, chopping, preparing, cleaning up, the dishes, all of that. Forget about it with Factor's fresh, never frozen meals delivered straight to your door. They're ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So all you have to do is heat and enjoy. And if this sounds like a good proposition, you'd be crazy not to. You got to go to factormeals.com/FinsChat50 and use code FinsChat50 to get 50% off. And, of course, we love you and we care about you. So we'll put that link right in the comments of today's video. But just in case you tuned out, here's the last time I'm giving it to you. Dial it in at factormeals.com/FinsChat50 and use code FinsChat50 to get 50% off. Now, as I mentioned, there were a lot of headlines going into this game, and probably none bigger than the one that broke about an hour before kickoff. No Tyreek Hill, despite him going through active warm-ups, and a lot of talking heads in the National Football League said he was going to play. He looked good. He was running routes on air and obviously in the warm-up before getting in uniform, and all signs pointed to Tyreek Hill playing, but he was not 100%, and I think it was one of those situations where the medical staff may have had to protect Tyreek from himself. You've got a lot ahead of you if you're the Miami Dolphins. They didn't particularly need him for this game against the Jets. And in his absence, I think this offense showed the versatility that we've been calling for all season long. And that's not to take anything away from Tyreek Hill. In fact, I think he has quite the case to be the NFL MVP when you look at the statistical damage he's doing and how he alters a game. But without Tyreek Hill and without their #1 weapon, look at the numbers. 290 yards of total offense, better than 5 yards of play. Tua protected the ball at the 213 yards. And running the ball, it wasn't always the most efficient, but it was effective. The Dolphins were able to punch it in a couple of times in the red zone. Raheem Mostert with the 2 rushing touchdowns, but 0 turnovers. You're always going to hear me cheer a 0 turnover effort. I'll smile from ear to ear when there's 0 turnovers because we know as football guys, that is crucial. But I got to give it to Jaylen Waddle because without Tyreek Hill in the lineup, you knew the defensive game plan would be squarely on stopping the Penguin. And he said, doesn't matter, not so fast. Good luck. And he put forth his best effort of the season, his best game statistically of the season, 142 yards, 8 receptions, and the touchdown that really, I think, cemented this game for the Dolphins, that 60-yard bomb that Tua put right on the money, by the way. But the point being, Jaylen Waddle showed that he is certainly deserving of that elite wide receiver title. He's in the upper echelon of wide receivers in the National Football League, and I thought yesterday he utilized that opportunity brilliantly to show the rest of the NFL exactly that without Tyreek Hill in the lineup, and he played tremendous. And what's a wide receiver without his quarterback, of course? And listen, Tua, there's been a lot of conversation around number one. And frankly, I think some of the criticism was deserved, especially with how he played against Tennessee. But some of those throws he made yesterday, obviously the 60-yard bomb to Jaylen Waddle is going to get a lot of the attention, but he was fitting the ball into some tight windows and making a lot of throws that there's not a lot of quarterbacks in this league that can make those type of throws. I mean, he completed his first 16 passes, 21 of 24, 224 yards, just the one touchdown, but no interceptions. And he, I believe, has what it takes to lead this Dolphins offense down the stretch and into a playoff run. And whether you're all in on Tua or not, I think he's going to continue to prove that he is a capable quarterback. And just like Jaylen Waddle proved, he's in that elite upper echelon status. And I think Tua is the best is still in front of him. But you tell me. Look, there's a lot of angles to break down from the offensive performance without Tyreek Hill in the lineup. So let's get creative. Let me know in the comments. What did you like most about the offense yesterday? Was it the rushing attack? Maybe it was Jaylen Waddle showing he's an elite wide receiver. Maybe it was Tua taking care of the football and not turning the ball over. Or maybe it was the offensive line. They were beat up, but they still were able to do enough for the offense to be effective and, again, most importantly, take care of the ball. But get creative and let me know in the comments. And how about Raheem Mostert? I can't believe it. In fact, I feel a little bit guilty. We've gone this long without talking about Raheem Mostert. 2 more rushing touchdowns on the day. And if you're telling yourself, wow, that seems like he has a lot of rushing touchdowns on the season, he does. 18 of them to be exact. And that is a new Miami Dolphins franchise record. He passes the great Ricky Williams, run, Ricky, run. But 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. And he didn't have his best day statistically yardage-wise. But again, he got the 2 touchdowns. And it feels like he's becoming that safety blanket that you can hand the ball to in the red zone and you know he's going to find pay dirt. But the season that is a breakout season continues. Those 18 touchdowns really jump out to you, getting closer and closer to that 1,000-yard mark. He's been excellent for the Miami Dolphins. So it's been a lot of positives. Look, and there's a lot of positives to take from a 30-0 win, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, obviously. But you know I'd find one little nitpicky item to at least discuss on today's overreaction video, and that was the penalties. Too many of them, 9 of them to be exact. And when you think about the Dolphins' season as a whole, the 9 penalties are the second most this entire season. They had the 10 penalty performance on Sunday Night Football against the Eagles a few weeks back, but 9 penalties is a lot. So it got me thinking, is this a problem? Do the Dolphins have a problem? I've got good news for you. As a total, over the course of the whole season, the Dolphins are actually in the bottom third of the National Football League as far as total penalties committed, but it's the number you never want to see climbing up to that 9 into the 10 double-digit level as far as number of penalties in that game. So clean it up a little bit, but penalties are going to happen. I don't think it's some, statistically altering red flag concerning, hey, sound the alarms. The Dolphins had too many penalties, but it was one thing I wanted to bring up. And if you're wondering, the Dallas Cowboys, who the Dolphins play next, are actually the most penalized team in the National Football League. So one more time, that's a wrap up. 30-0, a huge win for the Miami Dolphins. And we turn the page and look ahead to the final 3 weeks of the season. And I want to make sure you subscribe because when Dolphin news happens, we've got you covered. We make a video about it. Yeah, we make a movie too. How about that? But just for an example, if you will, if you're wondering, why should I subscribe? Well, this just hit the airwaves just a second ago, and producer Jack's all over it on the 1s and 2s. This is kind of interesting, too, so I wanted to pass it along. But Adam Schefter tweets out, Andrew Van Ginkel broke his nose during the first quarter of Sunday's win against the Jets, and it didn't matter. He played the rest of the game. No missed time for Van Ginkel. We'll monitor it moving forward. But you get the idea. Van Ginkel's a tough son of a gun. And when Dolphins news happens, we've got you covered. That is why you subscribe. And you never want to miss a moment. Make sure you subscribe. We're getting closer and closer to that goal of 53,000. And it's going to be fun down the stretch because the Dolphins have some huge games. And I don't want to say a lock. They haven't clinched it yet, but if you look at a lot of the statistics, 99% chance of making the playoffs. So subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time on Dolphins Today.